This is the book of Genesis, chapter 25, and verse 21, and it reads, And Isaac entreated Yahweh for his wife, because she was barren, and Yahweh was entreated of him. And Rebekah, his wife, conceived. Brakatha Yahweh, Brakatha Yahweh Shai, Brakatha Yahweh, Brakatha Yahweh Shai, Brakatha Yahweh, Brakatha Yahweh Shai. Kol Yahweh Bashem Yahweh Shai, Bahashem Rakakadash. Double honors to the apostles of Great Millstone and the elders. Peace and salutation to the Akim out there teaching and preaching this truth with all sincerity. To the 1/3 and to the Bayashadad house of David, 144,000 elect men of Yahweh Bashem Yahweh Shai's governing body. This is Ayah Shatab from Las Vegas, Men of Valor Camp. I'm coming to you today with a lesson of Esau and Jacob. Just to, give a little edification on who Esau is and who Jacob is. So without further ado, let's go ahead and get into the scriptures. So before we move to another scripture, let's get that word entreat. I think I have it here. Let's go ahead and pull it up. Salakia. Okay, entreat, it's going to be to ask a person earnestly. Beseech, implore, beg, to ask earnestly for something. So that's the definition. Isaac asked Yahweh earnestly for his wife to conceive. And that's the definition of that. Let me continue on. All right. So we're going to be in the book of Genesis, chapter 25 and verse 22. And it reads, And the children struggled together within her, and she said, If it be so, why am I thus? So why am I thus? So what's going on? Once again, for edification, let me pull up the word thus. Salakia. So the definition of thus, as a result or consequence of this. That's what thus, the definition of thus is. All right. So going on, continuing to read the scriptures. It is continuing on with verse 22. And she went to inquire of Yahweh. And Yahweh said unto her, 2 nations are in thy womb, and 2 manner of people shall be separated from thy bowels. So 2 manner of people are in her womb. What are those 2 people? Esau and Jacob. We're going to continue to find out. So continue on reading. Salakia. And the one people shall be stronger than the other people. So one shall be stronger than the other. Typically, who's stronger out of Esau and Jacob? Typically it's Jacob, 9 times out of 10. So-called blacks, Latinos, Seminole Indians are stronger than so-called Caucasian white race. Continue on to read. And the elder shall serve the younger. The elder shall serve the younger. Who's the elder? Well, if we continue on to read, Esau is the elder and Jacob is the younger. So Esau was the oldest brother and Jacob is the youngest brother. Going on to verse 24. And when he, Salakia, and when her days of delivery were fulfilled, behold, there were twins in her womb. So there was twins in her womb. So Esau and Jacob are twins. Once again, Esau being the older brother, Jacob being the younger brother. Going on to verse 25. And the first came out red. Now the first came out red, all over like a hairy garment. So if the first came out red, like a hairy garment. Who tends to come out red when they're born? 9 times out of 10, all red. Who's that? That's right. So Esau tends to come out red, which would be so called Caucasians, whites, which would be biblically Esau, Edom. Um, that's who, during their birth, after their birth, when the babies come out, the babies are red. If you've ever witnessed a pregnancy, 9 times out of 10, the baby is red. All right? And continuing on. Continuing on. And they called his name Esau. Verse 26. And after that came his brother out of his hand, took hold of Esau's heel, and his name was called Jacob. Well, wait a minute. Why wasn't his color, his nationality, quote unquote, mentioned at this time? I mean, they made it a point in the Bible to mention that Esau came out red like a hairy garment. But lo and behold, Jacob was just Jacob, right? This is thus saith the Bible. Didn't mention Jacob's color. But we know Jacob was a so-called African American and of that descent, the darker descent, because Esau was new. And they made it a point to point it out that he was red because you could see the blood through his flesh. So he was lacking what they call pigment. Lacking pigment. Continuing on to read is Salakia. And Isaac was 80 years old when she bore them. Verse 27. Salakia. And the boys grew, and Esau was a cunning hunter. So Esau's a cunning hunter. What does Esau do now? 9 times out of 10, Esau hunts for sport. You ever seen any Jakes out there really hunt for sport just to put a deer's head on their wall, or rhino, or go swordfish fishing and, petrify all these animals and, taxidermy, whatever it's called, these animals? No. 9 times out of 10, that is Esau, Edom, who does that. Hunting is a sport for them. Continuing on. A man of the field, and Jacob was a plain man, dwelling in tents. So Jacob really just liked to chill. He liked to, make sure that everything is nice, be relaxed, and be in comfort. And Esau loved Salakia. And Isaac loved Esau. So Isaac the father loved Esau because he did eat of his venison. He ate of his venison. So he was a cunning hunter, and he brought good meat. So the father Isaac loved Esau. But Rebekah loved Jacob. So let's say Jacob, for edification was sake, is a mama's boy. Easiest way to put it. He loves to lounge, learn the things, have everything of his in comfort, and be of his mother and learn those things. Continuing on. And Jacob sobbed, Slaki, and Jacob sobbed pottage, and Esau came from the field, and he was faint. So now let's look up that word. Salakia. We're going to look up that word sob and pottage. Sobbed and pottage. So the definition of sod would be an unpleasant or obnoxious person. A person of a specific kind, something that is difficult or causes problems. That is the definition of sod. Going on. Definition of pottage is soup or stew. Soup or stew. Pottage. All right. And now I'm going to read verse 30 again. So this is Genesis chapter 25 and verse 30. And Esau said to Jacob, feed me, I pray thee, with that same red pottage. Remember, pottage is soup or stew. For I am faint. Therefore was his name called Edom. So continuing on to verse 31. And Jacob said, sell me this day thy birthright. Now, this is where everything starts going extra bad for Esau. It's simplest form said. This is where it starts going really bad for Esau. He sold his birthright. The birthright was given to the eldest child. Now, what did Esau do? Esau said, continuing on to verse 32, and let's read. And Esau said, behold, I am at the point to die. And what profit shall this birthright do to me? Now, this is out of Esau's own mouth. So he looked at the birthright as it was nothing to him. He didn't need it. It wasn't worth anything. But what was more important, this stew. This stew was the most important thing to him, because if he didn't have it, he surely should die. So he felt, as he said. So continuing on. And Jacob said, swear to me this day. And he swore unto him, and he sold his birthright unto Jacob. Let's go back. For edification's sake, let's just go back just for a quick second to get two previous scriptures that we read. So now, Salakia. So this is a picture of the Christian church saying this is Esau and Jacob. But I'm going back into the verses. Let's go once again. We're still in chapter 25, and jump up to verse 23 again. And it reads, and Yahweh said unto her, 2 nations are in thy womb. So first of all, for a cut for these Christians, if there's 2 nations in the womb, 2 nations, Esau and Jacob, why did Esau come out red like a hairy garment? Okay? But this is what they depict to you sheeple out there. It says, remember, it says, manner, 2 nations in thy womb, and 2 manner of people shall be separated from thy bowels, shall be separated. Continuing on, and the one people shall be stronger than the other people. Okay? And the elder shall serve the younger. So the elder shall serve the younger. But these Christians, these churches out here, Christianity will tell you that Esau and Jacob, they look the same. Obviously, they can't look the same because they're 2 manner of people. First and foremost, and Yahweh B'Shem Yahushai already put a mark. What was that mark? And let's read on to verse 25. It states, and it reads, and the first came out red all over, like a hairy garment, and called, Salaki, and they called his name Esau. So once again, let's look at the hairy garment. The hairy garment right here. There's a hairy garment, manner of red. So you see these Edomite children right here? These babies come out red. Right after birth, their blood is showing through their skin. And then this is where supposedly Jacob and Esau, this shows them as the same manner of people. Even though it is a drawing and it is a depiction, that's of these devils and what they do. They continue on to lie to you, and you teach your children this shit. You see it in Sunday schools, so on and so forth. And and tell them and that it's okay, and it's a lie. Wake up. Stop teaching your children this shit. This is Esau and Jacob. This would be a better depiction of Esau and Jacob right here. Two manner of people were born out of the same womb. Esau and Jacob as they get older. Now, this is not their exact photos or anything. Don't be so simple. But this is just an example of Esau and Jacob. Cunning hunter, right? You see him with the bow, cunning hunter. Have him hairy garment, sword of red. And what is Jacob? Jacob, he's doing some housework. He's chilling. He's making sure that his mother has what she needs, right? If you want to say it like that. But they still depicted him wrong, right? The elder shall serve the younger. Lord willing, this was edifying for you. This is just a short video. Till the next time, Shalom. And Salakia, there was one more verse I had to read. Verse 34. Then Jacob gave Esau, Salakia, that's book of Genesis, chapter 25, verse 34. Then Jacob gave Esau bread and pottage of lentils, and he did eat and drink, and rose up and went his way. Thus Esau despised his brethren. So this will lead into another lesson in a topic about the curses that we are up under, as well as the sword of Esau and his promise and the promise of his father for Esau and Jacob. So without further ado anymore, Salakia, having some issues over here. Shalom. Call Yahweh Ba'Hashem Yahushai Ba'Hashem Rakal Kadash. Double honors to the apostles of Great Millstone and elders, to the Akim out there teaching and preaching this truth, to the 1/3 and the Bayashadad house of David, 144,000 elect men that hope to be a part of. Shalom.